Hey, good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining in on this episode of Conversations with Camden. Of course, this year things are a little different with COVID-19, so we're going to have a virtual open house. We typically have open houses all throughout the spring where parents come and view the campus and meet and speak with our cadets. But this year we're going to do things differently because we're quarantined, so we're going to let you meet the cadets virtually. And I have three young men that will be joining us here in a few moments, and I'm going to let them kind of introduce themselves and tell you where they're from and their grade. And George, we'll start with you.
Hello, my name is Dustin George. I'm the major here at Camden Military Academy. I'm from Jupiter, Florida, and I'm a senior.
All right. Hey, Jose.
Hi, my name is Jose Coca. I'm a junior at Camden Military Academy, and I'm from Tampa, Florida.
And then we'll go over to Lucan.
Hi, my name is Robert Lukin. I'm from Nahant, Massachusetts, and I'm a junior.
All right. So these three young men will be around throughout the duration of YouTube Live. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask them or ask myself, just use the hashtag CMA Open House on any of our social media platforms. Again, that's hashtag CMA Open House. You just put your question there on Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, Insta, and we will address all those questions. So make sure you participate. We don't want this to be a one-sided conversation today. And we're going to cover a good bit of information today about the academy. We're going to talk about, of course, sports and some of the fun things that we do, but also academics, which is kind of what we're really here for. But I want to start out today doing a brief PowerPoint presentation, and it won't take very long, and I hope I'm not going to bore you too much with it. But we'll zip through this, and then we'll get to the question and answer section. Camden is in the center of South Carolina. We are pretty much the geographical center. Columbia is 32 miles away, and Columbia is actually the midpoint, but we're very close to that. So if you've never been to South Carolina before, we're kind of the pie-shaped state, and we're right in the middle. Throw a dart, hit the bullseye, and you're close to us. We have an airports in both Charlotte and Columbia, South Carolina, that we can get transportation for students to and from the airports to go home on breaks and when they arrive and things like that. We also have a train station as well as a bus station here in town. So we are always, providing transportation to our guys. We have guys here from over 35 states, so in about 6 or 7 countries. So a lot of transportation needs that we take care of throughout the year. The school itself goes back to 1892, and so we've got a long, rich tradition, lots of history. And one thing that's remained steadfast is that we have remained all male, all boarding, and college preparatory schools since our beginnings. We actually were founded in Bamberg, South Carolina at Carlisle Military. We were actually founded to be a fitting school for Wofford College. So we've done a lot over the years to maintain that tradition. A lot of the other boarding schools have moved on to either accept females or have day students, but we feel like the traditional setting is the best for us. Now, these young guys that join us today disagree with me, but I always try to tell these young men that girls are evil. Stay away from them for as long as you can. Wait till you get to college. But all right, the next slide here, the education. This is our main focus here, and you can see that this is what we're going to spend the majority of our time with these students while they're here, is focusing on education, getting grades up, making college opportunities, knocking down barriers that maybe were in place prior to arriving at Camden. So you can see we have supervised study halls, which is also very, very important. These guys typically are very smart when they come in for an interview. I meet them and, they say, "Hey, how's school?" "Well, I'm making B's or C's, Mr. Robinson." "Okay, well, is that good or bad for you?" "Oh, that's really good." "Well, we could be doing a little better." So a lot of the times the follow-up question is, do you always do your homework? And the homework is no. I don't ever do my homework, or either the boy will tell me that he does his homework and the parents then nudge him or hit him or something, and then he tells me the truth that he really doesn't. So definitely, homework certainly helps in with the improvement of the grades, and that's why we have that supervised study hall. We also do things traditional, so you have 6 classes per day. The classes last 40 minutes each. So if you're familiar with the block schedule in your public school now or private day school, we do not do that. We don't feel like a young man can pay attention for an hour and a half, but 40 minutes, we can pretty much guarantee that we can, have active engagement during that time. These are some other things that we do. 2-week grades. We give every student a report card basically every 2 weeks, so he'll know exactly where he stands. He gets feedback from the teachers, comments, things of that nature. And then we also can place him in the Learning Center if necessary. The Learning Center is an opportunity for him to get additional tutoring, and that's usually taking place after school. So we have built-in tutoring during the school day, and then the Learning Center for guys who are making 2 Ds or an F in any 2-week grading period. We also have dual enrollment. Dual enrollment, of course, is taking college courses, and those college courses are offered through the University of South Carolina. Yay, that's my alma mater, so happy about that. I hope we never have to offer any classes through Clemson, because that would break my heart. Sorry, any Clemson fans out there. And then, of course, the big test that we focus on here is the SAT and ACT. We do not have any state-mandated testing that we have to do. So just the SAT and ACT, of course, which is really important because it determines where you go next. And then we do have financial aid available for college. And guys that graduated from here last year received about $750,000 total scholarship money to attend the next level. So we understand that parents are putting out sometimes college money to pay the tuition at CMA. So we do try to help you find money to attend college on the other side. Then other things that we focus on: the cadet life, personal responsibility, personal development, really big. We want these guys to say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. We want them to be accountable for their own actions. It's really important for these guys to learn that, sometimes you have to crawl before you walk. And that's one thing that we like to teach them here. As a parent, we like to kind of keep our kids from hitting rock bottom and, or falling down and scraping their knee. But sometimes that's actually a good thing, because they do learn a lesson from that. They can get back up, dust themselves off, and move forward and still, manage success. But then leadership and teamwork. I would say teamwork's probably the toughest for these young men to accomplish while they're here. Most of them have played sports before, so they have an idea what it's like to be on a team. But when you get to Camden, you're kind of responsible to 50 or 60 other guys that you live with. And so that's something new for a lot of these young men. Most of them are, a little spoiled. They've been at home with mom and dad in their own bed. Their internet is for them 24/7. So this is a new experience. And so the teamwork and, being responsible to other teenagers who are all trying to do the right thing is definitely a new territory for these guys. Now, during our free time, you'll see everything listed there: the weight room. Everything is on campus except the golf course. So we can take you off campus if you would like to participate in golf. But we have outdoor courts for both tennis, basketball. We have beach volleyball. And we do have clay courts here on campus. We're the first high school in the state to get clay courts, so we're pretty excited about that. And then church is mandatory. So if we have any students who of our non-Christian faith, they have to study their own doctrine during this time. But any student who's a Christian can go into the interdenominational service that we have here on campus, and we do have a full-time chaplain. Students can also choose to attend church in town. Some of our students will do that. However, most do stay here on campus just because we don't require them to get in a dress uniform, and we'll talk about uniforms a little bit later. The physical development, we have, of course, we do have PT in the morning, so you see push-ups in that slide. That's probably the worst thing to put in a presentation, because most young men are kind of fearing that this is going to be a boot camp or something like that where we're screaming, drop and give me 20. But the PT that we have is not boot camp. You certainly will have some exercises in the mornings, but it's nothing to fear. It's just kind of get the blood flowing and get a good start to the day. And then you see the top picture there is our mess hall. You have the 3 balanced, nutritious meals there. And I'll let the guys talk about the food a little later, but, I actually like the food. We have a dessert bar, we have some pretty good options. There's some food that you will not look forward to at all, but then there's some that you'll, look forward to. Then the Carlisle House is somewhere that you can go over and get your ice cream and pizza and junk food, so just to hang out for the guys in the afternoon. And then send care packages. You can always send stuff from home. The guys who are on campus with us right now during this COVID situation, we have about 120 students here on campus with us. And then we have another 160 that are at home doing remote learning. But they are really enjoying getting those care packages, especially now. Spartan Sports, you see all of our sports listed there. 13 varsity sports. We have a no-cut policy. The only sport that we might have to cut in is basketball, just depending on the numbers and how they vary each year. We can't have 50 people on the basketball team, but we do have middle school, JV, and varsity. And if for some reason we don't have enough people to field, say, a middle school baseball team or a JV baseball team, those guys would play varsity level. But we like to keep the guys active and involved in sports. TAC officers, we're going to talk about them throughout the presentation, so I just wanted to introduce them to you. That's the gentleman there in the middle, that's Sergeant Major Green. He is a TAC officer here. He's, of course, retired from the military, and all of our TAC officers are retired military men, and that's something that really separates us from other military schools. Other military schools use the term TAC officer, but sometimes that means it's just someone who wakes them up in the morning and gets them to class. But these TAC officers start their day at 6 o'clock in the morning and it ends about 10 p.m. So they have a long, long day. And I joke with the guys that he can either be your best friend or your worst nightmare. So it kind of depends on what you would like to make him. And again, we'll delve into that a little bit more later. But parents, the TAC officer is your primary point of contact. So if you ever want to know how he's doing in school, who his friends are, is he getting in trouble, can he come home next weekend on a furlough, you would contact that TAC officer first. Then the housing here at Camden. We have different buildings. Some predate World War II. Others, we opened the two-story barrack that you see in the bottom in 2017. And then the third building you see on this slide was built in the early 2000s. So we certainly have pros and cons to each barrack. Even the older barracks, though, have been remodeled. They all have AC and heat and carpet and all that. But it's basically location and also TAC officers. Each TAC officer, we allow him to run his barrack his way, and there's actually 2 TAC officers in each barrack. But some of the barracks are a lot more military and strict, so you're going to be having a lot more formations than other companies, things like that. So there's pros and cons to each, and some young men when they come here need the hard disciplinarian, so there's a TAC officer for that, and then some of the guys need like a father figure, and there's a TAC officer for that. So we try to make the TAC officer choices based off of the interview when we meet the student. And then other extracurricular activities that we have, these are just some top 10 list here. The flight lessons were right next door to the Camden airport, city airport, so you can't fly in on JetBlue or United or anything, but they do have flight lessons, small airport, and some of our guys take that. Actually, I think Jose one of the young men joined us today, took some flight lessons next door, so he can talk to you about that. But lots of stuff to get involved in. Like I said earlier, the busier these guys are, the better. It wears them out, keeps them out of trouble. And then some trips. We like to have some fun, so you'll see some trips listed here that we go on throughout the year. We have at least one major trip per month. We'll also go to NBA games, NFL games, things like that. So on a weekend, typical weekend, maybe a movie trip, paintball. Sometimes it's just you get a lazy weekend to hang out at the pool and blow some steam off. But we like to kind of keep them engaged and busy. Then our summer program, just want to tell you one quick note. We didn't have time to update the PowerPoint, but we just decided to cancel the first session of the summer program. So the June 22nd through July 10th is no longer available. And again, that's due to the COVID-19 situation. Again, people say, well, why are you canceling? We pull kids from all over the country. And so, we kind of feel uncomfortable bringing guys from all over different states where it may be hot spots and then, exposing the virus here. Not only just our cadets and faculty, but to the community in general. So we are planning to have the second session July 12th through the 31st, and you'll be able to earn 1 academic credit during that time. And then the campers still could come in as well for the 1 session. We will not have any off-campus trips, though. Typically, we go to fun places like Carowinds and paintballing and things like that. But all of our activities will take place on campus, just so that we don't have to leave and risk exposure to COVID. And this is the last slide. Just marching to success with us. You can call us at the 800 number. Someone will pick up there Monday through Saturday. CamdenMilitary.com's website you can visit, and it has all of the information that you would need as far as applications. It has some cool videos to watch. We have other YouTube lives like today that we've recorded and posted to our site. So go to CamdenMilitary.com if you have any information or have any questions. And then that email address, admissions@CamdenMilitary, is my personal email. So if you have any questions for me, if you want references, if you want to talk to parents from your area, if you want cadets to reach out from your area and either speak to you or the prospective student, we can arrange that. So if you'll just send me an email, we can work that out. And then, of course, now we're doing virtual interviews. Hopefully, we'll have campus visits sometime here in the near future. But for now, it will all be virtually, either over Skype or FaceTime, something like that. So I think that is it for the slides. So now we're going to bring it back to our young men here and open it up for questions. and I've already gotten a question in that said, "Can you apply for this year?" And the answer is yes. We are accepting applications now for this year. We have, right now, think about maybe 50 to 60 students who have already been accepted. We'll probably accept another 30. So you don't want to wait too long on that. But yes, we are accepting applications. The way to apply, camdenmilitary.com, fill out the school year application. And then got a couple other questions. It says, how many seventh graders and how many seventh grades stay through graduation? We have a limited number of seventh graders, probably, I would say 15 at the most. Their class sizes tend to be much smaller, single digits. And we have a few cadets that will stay 7th through 12th grade. I would say 5 to 10 each year, just depending. And but yeah, so no 7th graders on here with us today, though. We've got all high schoolers. And then, can students talk about what year they enrolled? Worried that military and the boot camp like in the movies? Oh yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that. So that's a good segue. All right, let's see, Jose. I know that this was your first year, right? And you were. I think I met your parents in Tampa actually when I was down there. I don't remember if you were there or not, but what was your first impression when your parents brought the idea of military school up to you? Were you scared it was a boot camp? And then what's it really like once you got here?
Okay, well, to me at first it was kind of it was scary. Yeah, it was scary at first. I was a little bit skeptical about it. I thought it was really like a lot of like boot camp, and we were gonna do a lot of PT. But I honestly didn't have too much of a like. I didn't really care that much, and I was like, I'll just look forward to it, and it's gonna make me a better person. It's gonna make me a better student throughout the year. So I kind of look forward to it. And that's honestly like the best thing to do, especially coming to Camden Military Academy. Have a really good like, just look forward to it, man. And everything will be good. And as soon as you get there, you get used to the people, you get used to the environment around you, and yeah, it's a really good.
All right. And now, Robert, we'll ask you kind of the same question. What was your idea about military school, and then did it match your fears once you got here?
Well, same thing as Coca. I did at first. I thought this place was going to be like a boot camp. It was completely different because the tactical officers here are they really support you and they almost treat you like their own son, and it's really it changed me a lot. And yeah.
All right. And George, we'll throw you the same question.
Well, I could easily say when my mom told me I was going to military school, you look at all the movies and TV shows, when you say military school, you think, scary, gigantic people just yelling at you 24/7. And that's what I thought it was going to be. But when I first got here, the family kind of environment, the teachers, the faculty, they really brought me in. They showed me what Camden Military is truly about. And, I just can't thank them enough for giving me such a great experience my first 2 years here.
All right. Good job. All right, guys. And one thing that you touched on was the family environment, and that's one thing that we kind of pride ourselves on here at CMA, is that some of the schools that you visit, or I guess now virtually visit online, have kind of an institutional-like feel to it. Here at Camden, we pride ourselves on having that family-friendly feel. Our campus looks like a small college campus. There's lots of green space. There's dogs and cats around. I have a new puppy that this morning when I was walking her, all of C&G Company came out and was, playing with the dog. So that's fine. We don't have any problem with that. But, while you're here, you will get the structure, you'll get the organization and the time management. So let's start back over with Jose. Talk to me a little bit about time management. How was your time management skills prior to Camden, and then did they improve while being enrolled?
Well, for me, before I went to Camden, I didn't manage my time as well, and for me, like it was especially big on doing homework. I didn't do my homework. I just didn't care about it, and I just didn't have time apparently. And as soon as I got to Camden with the new schedule and stuff, waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I got used to it quick. And I told myself, man, if this is what's gonna be, keeping me up every day and keeping me on point with everything that's on the schedule, and so yeah, it's a lot better now. Even if I'm working from, I still apply things that I do at Camden. So yeah, it's been really it's changed me a lot.
Yeah, good. And like I mentioned earlier, Jose is doing remote learning right now. He's one of the cadets that is studying from home, and people really thought that online school may be a little easier, but time management really comes into play if you're doing anything virtually online. I'm sure Jose would agree with that. But Luke, and kind of the same question for you. Tell me a little bit about the organization, time management that has it improved since you've been here.
Yes, it has definitely improved, mostly because of the strict schedule that the student chain of command here sets. And now that I'm part of chain of command, I have to set the schedule, and it's really helped me grow up in a sense.
All right. And Cadet George, what would you say the most valuable lesson you've learned has been? Is it organization, time management, leadership? What would you say it was?
No, I could definitely say hard work. I would definitely say hard work, mainly because before CMA, I was really lazy. My mom used to yell at me all day saying, I've never seen you do your homework before I came to CMA. But now when she wants to, have a conversation with me and she calls me during study hall, I'm like, Mom, I'm doing my homework. I can't talk right now. And she's like, Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And, I know that she's smiling when I say that because she's so proud of I'm actually finally doing my homework because of the study hall period that we have from 7:30 to not about 9 o'clock. And easily I could say my room was a mess when I went before I came to CMA, and now that I've been here for 2 years, every time I go home, it's has to be exactly how I have my room here. And my mom, she's really happy.
Good. All right. And I want to remind all of our viewers, if you have questions, to please post them to social media, or you can comment in the YouTube chat and use the hashtag CMA Open House. Again, that's CMA Open House. Just type in your question and then type in that at the end of your question, and we will find it there on social media and ask these young men any questions you may have. Guys, I had a question come in, and they wanted to know how many parents' idea is it for you to attend military school, or how many is a boy's decision? Um, Raise your hand if it was your decision. Exactly. Okay, so Robert, tell us about that. You kind of got it halfway.
Well, my parents brought it up at first, but I actually supported it. And my parents, well, at first to be honest, I was a little scared because of the whole boot camp thing and whatsoever, but I knew that I would get the structure that I definitely needed, so I supported it.
Yeah, and I think the rest of the guys here, I always tell everyone, out of about 300, we probably have 30 that were super excited to be here. They grew up with their parents in the military, or there was some legacy, maybe their dad went here, something like that, so they really wanted to be here. Everyone else, it was kind of mom or dad's or grandparents' idea, and the boy kind of goes along with it. Many of the guys who were not wanting to come, once they get here, once they visit the campus and meet our cadets and realize that these are not other normal teenagers, they don't mind it as much. But it's just kind of getting past that initial fear. But like we talked about earlier, what you see in the movies, what you see, for example, one of my favorite shows is Criminal Minds. I know it's gone off the air now, but I watch reruns all the time. But they had an episode about a military school, and it really wasn't a military school, but the episode called it that. And they kind of put everything in a negative light. And so media doesn't treat military school in the most positive way. So we're trying to break that stereotype and let young men know that it's not as scary as you see in the movies or on TV shows or things like that. All right, I had a question about tuition come in. So I will talk about that briefly. There's very important information getting ready to come out of my mouth about tuition, so pay close attention. We do offer financial aid here at CMA. We do not advertise financial aid, so you have to ask us about it. So if your parents out there are watching, make sure that you make a mental note or write it down now to ask us about financial aid. The first year, it's all need-based, so you can apply and get up to 30% off of the tuition. Again, based on need. Second year is a mixture of need as well as merit. So we're going to take a look at, what your son offered the academy, either academically, athletically, leadership-wise, his first year, prior year. So that's one thing. If you do have multiple students from the same household coming in, so brothers, we can offer a discount as $1,000 off of each student's tuition to attend the school year. So, but you could get that as well as the financial aid. So I hope that answered the question about the tuition. All right, guys, I want to talk to you a little bit more about a typical day. Let me get one of you guys. Let's see, Lucan, why don't you take us from like wake up to lunch, kind of what happens during that time frame, and then George, I'll let you take us from lunch until lights out.
All right, so we wake up at 6 o'clock on a regular day. We clean our rooms from 6 o'clock to 7. At 7, we have formation outside and get ready for breakfast. And we finish up breakfast at about, I'd say, 7:40. And after that, it's usually up to the tactical officer to do what he wants. Or usually we do PT or company drill or stuff like that. And classes start at 9:30. They go on till 11, 11:40 ish. If you have, well, it depends because some days we have tutorial, and yeah. And after that, we have lunch at 12.
Okay. All right, George, take us on from to lights out.
So about 12:40 we end lunch. We have lunch meds go to the infirmary, of course, and then we have classes start at 1:05, about 1:10, and then after class ends around 3:15. Then we have free time. During free time is when sports usually have their practices, like such as football, basketball, baseball, or if you're on the drill team, that's when drill team practices. Or if you just want to go grab a snack from the Carla house, you can do that from that time. Free time ends usually around 5:45, and then from 5:45 to 6 you get ready for formation, you get back into the uniform. During free time you can hop out of the uniform of the day, you can go in civilians or PT uniform, but around 6 o'clock you have to get back into the uniform of the day, which is usually class uniform, which is what Mr. Lukin is wearing. And then we have dinner formation. Dinner ends around 6:45. After that, we go and get ready for study hall at 7:30. Once again, like I said before, that's when study hall starts. We cannot be on our electronics at this time. We have a teacher, a random teacher every single day, Monday through Thursday, and sometimes on Friday, come in and monitor us, make sure we're doing our homework. And then around 9 o'clock, we get ready for bed, and 10 o'clock is lights out.
There you go. So that's your typical day here at CMA. And I wanted the guys to run through that because we do get that question a good bit. If you missed any of that, it is on candymilitary.com under the campus life section down at the very bottom of the academic page. And you'll see a typical rundown of the day. I had a question come in about graduates and where do they go? What's their plans after CMA? Dustin, you're the only senior here on with us, so
Yes.
tell us your story. What's happening for you?
Well, for the longest time, I really wanted to play football. I wanted to play, coach football, manage, do whatever I can do. I always plan on going to college. But recently, I realized, I'm only 5'7", about 150 pounds, and I realized playing football really isn't in my plan of life. So I did some really deep thinking this summer before my senior year, and deciding what I really want to do. And I had no plans of a military career or anything or joining because I was scared of what the military was all about. But I realized I had a mentor here named Senior Chief Shields, my English 3 teacher, who was in the Navy for 25 years. He just told me so many amazing stories. So on February 7th of 2020, I decided to enlist in the Navy, and that's where I'll be going on June 24th.
All right. We'll be thanking you for your service then. But um,
Sure.
typical CMA students, they typically go on to college. We have about 95% that go to college, and others join the military, like Dustin's doing, and which is another very positive alternative to college. Um, what we hope our young men will do will go to college and get their college degree and then go in and be an officer. But not everyone likes that idea. So Dustin's got his plan. As long as they have a goal, we're happy. And Dustin, we've talked about his goals many times over the 2 years he's been here. So, Robert, what are you hoping to do after CMA? What's your kind of long term? What do you want to be when you grow up?
Um, I am planning on going to the Air Force Academy. It's definitely a huge challenge for me. And for the longest time, I've always wanted to fly. And being able to fly in the Air Force is my biggest dream.
All right, awesome. And then Jose, what's your future plans?
I'm planning to go to college at least 4 years and at least earn a degree. Um, I'm trying to go to USF, UT, or UF, which is top 3 colleges, and yeah, that's what I envision going to the next couple years.
We got to get you up here, man. I thought I could convert you to be a Gamecock. So if you hadn't gone home, we could have got you excited to be a Gamecock. All right. I should probably get some commission from USC. Kind of help recruit for them as well. We have a video that I want to play for you now. We have another cadet, Ian Walter. He's a senior this year, and we've done this little series called High Five, Camden High Five, and it's where you ask a student 5 questions, just kind of random, and see what his response is. And so anyway, you guys take a look at this video.
Hey Ian, I got some questions for you.
Oh, what's up?
This is for the Camden High Five. What's your favorite college team?
My favorite college team's got to be Clemson.
Who's your hero?
My hero is Sergeant Major Wilder.
Amen. Who's your favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher's got to be Mr. Casey Robinson, the admissions director, and
Yes,
our
sir.
social media marketing teacher.
Treats is great, and why is that?
Why is that? Well, you see, every day we come in, we get to do fun things like create videos, create new channels, do things like the Camden High Five or the Camden Bugler, our Facebook Live. By the way, you should check it out Thursday at 3 o'clock.
What's your favorite teammate uniform?
It's got to be PT Winters.
Comfy, and why is that?
Just like you said, nice and comfy.
Amen. What's your goals for next year?
My goals for next year is to attend Clemson University as a pre-business major and go from there.
Go Tigers.
Okay, that video hurt this Gamecock heart just a little bit, but Ian does have it. To Clemson, he applied to South Carolina as well, so he made me happy that way. And I did not pay him any money to name me as his favorite teacher, so I wasn't around when that video was made. We have a second video too that since parents are not here, current parents are not here to join us, we have Ian's mom actually, and I'd like to play that video for you now.
He was struggling a little bit in the public schools with large classes and just having a learning style that was a little bit different from most people. So he also at the time was very interested in a service academy. So we started exploring lots and lots of different schools, and when we came and visited here at Camden, it just felt like the right fit for him for a lot of reasons. The smaller classrooms, the style, the living structure, and the people that we met just seemed to be a good fit for him, and it's worked out really well. I think the biggest change has been his maturity. He has definitely matured. He's been here, this is his 5th year now, so there's some natural maturity that goes on, but also the level of responsibility that he's taken on. I think as he gained responsibility here at the academy and started to take on more leadership roles, it gave him more and more self-confidence in himself, and now he really, really, truly cares about the experience that some of the younger cadets have. So I think just the intrinsic motivation that he's taken to become more responsible, more mature, and really take a leadership role in helping others has been one of the things that's impressed me the most. My experience has been the TAC officers that he had from day one had great communication with me. We talked a lot. I felt like they cared about him as if he was their own son instead of just being mine. I have found a great open door policy with the administration here, and I haven't had any concerns whatsoever and feel really comfortable in having put his well-being in the hands of so many great people here. I definitely feel like he probably will be better prepared having come from his experience here at Camden than he would have been at the public school at home. And the reason for that primarily is he actually told me the other day that he's learned and developed study skills and time management skills that I'm not sure he would have gotten elsewhere. For him, I think being in a smaller classroom environment, having the opportunity to take the dual enrollment classes has really given him a great idea of what he's likely to face in college, and I think he is very, very well prepared for it, mentally and emotionally as well as educationally.
All right, so we appreciate Ms. McKenzie doing that. And someone asked earlier about how many students start here in 7th grade and graduate. Well, Ian is one of those students who have done that. So yeah, she's a really good resource. I'm sure she'd be happy to talk with anybody as well. But like I said earlier, you can certainly send in email to admissions@camdenmilitary.com, and I can get you references either from your area or just in general for either for cadets that currently go here or parents that have students enrolled here. Also, I had another question come in about our open house in June. As of right this moment, we're still going to have it. It could change. We are, kind of going through a situation right now with the governor's opened up some of the retail stores and things like that in our state. So we're going to kind of say it's on tentatively, but just kind of stay tuned to the website. since we canceled summer school, I thought we would automatically cancel that, but we haven't decided to do that yet, just because our students are not on campus. If we do have an open house, we're going to have kids that, or we're going to ask the visitors that come onto campus to, of course, all wear masks, and we will not be able to go in any buildings other than one barrack room. And that's just because we'll have summer schoolers coming in shortly thereafter, and we want to make sure that everything stays sanitized. Now, guys, some people want to know, what can you bring from home? So, Jose, I hadn't heard from you in a while, so tell them some things that you can bring from home.
All right. You could bring your most cadets bring they bring their computers, they bring their Xbox, they bring a TV. You can bring a TV. I think it's 22 inches or smaller. I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah, you could bring your phone. Of course, they're gonna have to take it for the first 2 weeks. Used to how Camden is at first. Kind of. I mean, you can bring snacks. You can bring. I mean, there's much stuff you can bring, but you can't, like, let's say you want to bring a mini fridge. You cannot do that, unfortunately. Yeah, you can bring your Xbox. You can bring a laptop. Yeah, you can bring a couple things with you.
Yeah, so pretty much whatever you have at home, you're allowed to have here. Like Jose mentioned, you cannot have a refrigerator, you cannot have, anything like that in your room, a microwave. But a lot of TAC officers have refrigerators or microwaves in the hallway that that allow you to use if you needed those. You can keep snacks in your room. You get that question a good bit too. So when you send those care packages, just remember you don't have the refrigerator, so it has to be non-perishable things, but chips and cookies and crackers. And if you send a care package from home, whether it's cakes or brownies or whatever, make sure you send enough to share, because these guys get really, really popular when they receive a care package. So everybody kind of pours into their room. Had a question coming in. Should we apply now or wait to the open house? I would encourage everyone to go ahead and apply. It gets your name on there. Like I said, we have potentially about a little over 30 spots left for new students. So you certainly want to apply sooner rather than later. And, if worst case scenario, if you have to come in maybe the week before school starts in August, you can see the campus. If you don't like what you see, we'll give you your money back. There's no penalty on that, since you've not been able to see the campus. So, but yeah, so just keep that in mind. Go ahead and apply. Also, key questions coming in. You want to use the hashtag CMA Open House, and we'll get to as many of those questions as possible. Ask these young men questions, ask me questions. But again, just remember any of our social media platforms and using the hashtag CMA Open House. So, all right, guys, I want to talk a little bit about grades, because that's what a lot of parents want to know about. So what were your grades like before Camden? What are your grades like now? And why the change? Why did you see a change in your grades? So Lucan, we'll start with you.
Well, my grades, they were not too good before Camden. I'd say C's and D's and maybe a little bit of B's. But coming here, they're all A's now, and I'd say this is mainly the reason because of our study halls, because we have a supervisor watching us, so they make sure that we do our homeworks. Also, the classes, they're smaller, so the teachers, they get to have closer interaction with the students.
All right. And Dustin, we'll ask you the same question.
Before CMA, I actually did pretty decent my freshman year, and then I got really lazy my sophomore year. My grades really dropped. Then my junior year, when I first came to CMA, they went crazy high. I started the year at like a 3.4, 3.5, and then I ended the year at a 3.8. So, and then I started at, what's it called? The second semester, I actually opened up with a 4.0 GPA, which is my all-time goal since my freshman year. So I achieved it. I'm hoping to keep it, and yeah, it's all good.
All right. And now I want to ask you a question about making friends. I know a lot of guys, don't want to leave their friends at home or anything like that. And, I mentioned a little earlier in the broadcast that sometimes girls are evil. That's probably the number one cause for homesickness here. That's why I say that, is because, we are all male. But, leaving that girlfriend is always tough, especially if the young men believe they're in love. So, we don't, have girls here. They will see girls here in town, though, when they go in. We have clubs and activities, the junior leadership, robotics, things like that they can get involved in and see local girls. And also you'll see them when they go shopping or the movies or out like that. But Jose, I want you to tell me a little bit about your friends and how was it easy to make friends transitioning into CMA?
Well, to me, yeah, it was really easy. As soon as I got there, everybody was very welcoming, and of course, you not knowing anybody, you got to start again. It's kind of like a clean sheet. But yeah, it was pretty great. Meeting a bunch of new people and getting that sense of brotherhood, and getting used to living with those people every day and throughout your school year here at Camden. And yeah, it's definitely a really good experience.
So Dustin, how about you? Now you've been here, 2 years. So do you kind of have the same experience? Was it easy to make friends?
I would say so. Myself, I was a little kind of secluded. I wasn't really social. I was really afraid to have that clean slate or clean sheet, like Coca said. But when I playing football and doing the debate team, kind of spread me out and kind of introduced me to different clubs, different people throughout the entire barracks. Now you live in a barracks with about 60 other people. You have a roommate that you spend I'd say about 50% of your time with. And I got close with all my roommates. I'm still friends with almost all of them to this day. And yeah, so making friends wasn't the easiest, but it took some time, but it worked, and it worked overall in the end.
All right. And Lucan, you came down from Massachusetts, so you're probably out of all these guys the one from furthest away. Did you experience any homesickness? And you started in seventh grade? Did you start in seventh? So did you experience any homesickness being a younger student?
Well, I definitely did. I was not used to the hot weather here. I was more used to the cold weather up in Massachusetts. But I definitely did miss my parents and friends, but that was all right because I could call them pretty much anytime I wanted. And I made a bunch of new friends here too.
All right, good. Now, another question about friends, guys. When you are at Camden, sometimes parents, make the decision to enroll at CMA to kind of get you away from a certain friend group at home or something like that they don't approve of. So, after you've been at Camden and you go back home, whether it be on a furlough or, for Christmas break or whatever, do you look at those friends any differently? I mean, was it a good thing for you to come to Camden? Jose, how about you first?
Yeah, it's definitely different. And for me, I had to cut a lot of people off. But in the long run, I know it's gonna be like the best decision for me, since I'm not doing I'm not having the same habits I used to have when I used to hang out with those my friends, so to say. But yeah, it's kind of it makes you think a lot on like who you used to be and who you used to hang out around. Like they say, I see who you hang around, and that's who you are. Like it defines you. So it's a really big change for me, and to me it's been such like a way better. It's a lot better now.
All right. And Dustin, ask you the same question.
I very much agree. When I went back home for the first time, Thanksgiving and Christmas break, my friends were still doing a lot of the things that we were doing back home. And now that we've been secluded from that and, I'm in a clean environment here, I looked at them, not as different people, but I didn't like the activities that they were doing. And I told them, hey, when we're around me, I would really appreciate it. Do all that and we just have some fun, go to the mall, watch the movies, all that. And they decided to continue doing it. So unfortunately, I did have to, seclude myself away from them as well. And but I made new friends, people who didn't do all the bad stuff that they would do. And thank you to CMA, because if I was continuing down that dark path, I would not be where I am today. I wouldn't be enlisted. I definitely would not be enlisted. And I can't thank CNN enough for that.
All right. Good stuff. All right, I had a question come in and wanted to know about civilian clothes and can they wear their Jordans? So, Lucan, tell us a little bit about civilian clothes and wearing Jordans.
Well, yes, you can wear civilian clothes, as George said, during your free time, and you can also wear your Jordans with your PT uniforms. You can wear pretty much any closed-toed shoes with your PT uniforms, but they might get messed up during PT, so you might want to watch out for that.
Good job. And then
If I could
another
add
question.
a little bit to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So now with the COVID-19 kind of thing, and we started our social distancing, they actually made our life here a lot more easier on weekends. We usually on weekends we'd wear our PT uniforms, make it a little more comfortable for us. But ever since the outbreak and a little bit over half the school left and went home for distant learning, they actually allowed us to wear civilian clothes on weekends where we can just relax and you don't have to worry about being in uniform. So I just wanted to add that to show how well the schools handled the situation and how much easier they made our life here, and how welcoming they are to trying out new things and due to this whole outbreak.
Yeah, we've kind of adjusted the schedule a little bit for the guys. We have during this COVID situation, we've had a field day. We've gone outside. Actually, Dustin actually made a video for us that was posted a few days ago on YouTube and Facebook where they had a tug of war competition between the different companies. This week we're going to be playing volleyball and softball. So we've had lots of different competitions. We love competition and getting these guys. It usually gets them fired up, and that's what we like because whether it be academic realm or whatever, most young men when I first initially meet them in an interview or on the road in an open house or when they visit the school here, they're not really on fire about anything. They're just kind of I call it jellyfishing through life, just kind of floating whichever way the current takes them. They're just following the pack, and when they get here, we want to kind of light a fire in these guys and see what excites them. Is it girls? Is it academics? Is it the military part? Is it the athletic part? And let them start experiencing success because success will definitely breed success. And we need to build up their self-esteem and their self-confidence so that they can experience success in all those different areas. Speaking of sports, though, I want somebody to talk about some extracurriculars that you guys are involved in. What sports you played and have been involved in, or maybe some blackjack, something like that. So, Dustin, we'll start with you.
So another thing that Camden does with the extracurricular activities, it also provides additional leadership skills. Now, my mom has always been trying to get me to join the debate team, and I don't think I never had time for it back home, or I was too lazy to do it. But I saw an opportunity to join last year, and I joined in the beginning. I absolutely loved it. Our debate coach is Miss Eve Carlin and Senior Chief Shields, as I mentioned before. They do an absolutely great job. I had so much fun with the debates that we had in the library and in the classroom. It was just fun. It was so much fun, and I think I exceeded and I excelled at that kind of things. I was actually voted the debate team president this year, and debate team does very well on for college profiles. And stuff like that. But other sports I did is I also played JV soccer, first year ever playing soccer, and I was actually voted captain last year by my teammates. And I also played a little bit of football, and I believe that is it.
All right. And Lucan, what about you? What have you been involved in?
Well, I've been involved in junior varsity football last year. Last year, I also did Blackjacks, which is our drill team. It's pretty fun. You get to spin rifles, and also this year I got selected to be in the junior leadership program, which is a program in this county in which the schools each pick 6 of their best students to participate in leadership activities with other schools.
All right. And then Coca, how about you?
I played varsity basketball this year, and to me, it's been a really great experience. Uh, Being in a team, to me, it's one of my biggest, I guess, things that I look forward to, and it made it a lot better, a lot easier for me to, get used to the school. And it was a great season, although it was a losing season. But I got to learn a lot about my teammates and stuff, and play the game a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. How about the brotherhood? We hear you guys talk about friends. We talk about sports teams and all of that. But I've been here for 22 years, and I've heard brotherhood every year, especially this time of the year as graduation approaches and the end of the school year. Can you describe the brotherhood to me, Dustin?
Oh, there's not enough I could say. In the speech that I wrote about my life here at CMA, that's one of the first things I mentioned is brotherhood, and how not anyone who has not come here or hasn't graduated from here doesn't truly understand the Camden experience. And the Camden experience truly is that brotherhoodly bond that you form with your roommates, your classmates, your people in your same company, your squad, your platoon, your and just the whole battalion. It's only 300 kids, a little bit less than that at the school, so you get to meet every single people. You get to meet new people. When I would walk around in my public school of 3,000, I would meet new people every day, and here I know almost everyone's name, mainly because of the name tags that we wear. But the brotherhood here is stronger than any other brotherhood I've ever had. So, I can't thank it enough.
And Robert, what do you think about that? You have a unique experience here at Camden as you meet people from all over the world, like I said earlier, all over the country. Do you feel like you'll maintain those relationships beyond Camden?
Yes. Well, I feel like the closeness of everyone, how we live together, pretty much, it's really made us into brothers. And even some people that have left this place, I still stayed in touch with them through social media. Yeah.
All right. Okay, we had a question come in about teachers. Are the teachers really involved with you? So I want you guys to kind of talk about some teachers here at CMA. Jose, you go first.
All right, so yeah, the teachers here at CMA, they do get involved a lot, and let's say you start to like fail, or you start like going down in your grades, they will talk to your tactical officers, and they will offer additional help to you, which has happened to most of the kids here, especially, and me too. But yeah, they do. It's a lot more one-on-one teaching, and they do focus a lot more on you and on other students as well, because they're such smaller classrooms. And yeah, and even if you need help, you need to go to the tutorial, which we do almost every day. You can visit that certain teacher that you need help with, and get that extra help that you need.
All right. And Dustin, what would you say about teachers? Kind of describe the CMA teacher, maybe compare it to your previous school, or whether it be public or private.
Well, I went to a public school back home, and the faculty ratio is probably like 20 students for every one teacher. And here, with all 300 kids here, it's actually 7 to 1. So that interaction with the teachers is a lot better, in a lot smaller classrooms, a lot more ways where the teacher can help you individually. And I've actually formed a lot of great relationships with all these teachers. Just to name a few, such as Senior Chief, I've mentioned him about 12 times now. Captain Gudgel, Captain Yates, your coaches or your teachers. So my football coaches, I've all formed amazing relationships that I will definitely be keeping in touch with. And I'd say most of my teachers are some of the closest friends I've ever had. So teachers are awesome here.
All right. Okay, now, guys, this is yeah, yeah. Now, this is kind of a tough question, but I'm going to ask it because we got it through social media. Do you feel like CMA has changed you emotionally and mentally since you've been here? So do you feel like you've changed since you've been here emotionally and mentally? Jose, you take it first.
All right, so for me, my parents and people around me have seen a big change. As also, I have felt the change too. I'm way more open-minded now. I feel like I could talk to anybody now. I feel a lot more mature, and yeah, it has been a big change for me, and in a good way. So, yeah, it does change you as a person, and yeah, it's everything's for the better.
Good. And how about you, Lucan?
Well, it changed me by initiating structure into me. The tactical officers, they really expect stuff from you, and it does change you for the better. And my parents definitely noticed that once, because I've definitely grew up. I went from a boy to a man here, to be honest. And I'd call this place my second home because of that.
All right. Okay, we have a question coming in about Xbox. How often do you get to play it, and is it monitored and that type thing? So I'll answer kind of part of it, and then I'll throw it to Cadet. But yes, you can bring your Xbox. You can play it. Now, one thing, we do not have Wi-Fi in the barracks, so you're not going to be able to hook it up and play your buddies all over the world unless your parents provide you with some type of hotspot, which we discourage a little bit because we don't want you, to have the 24/7 access. We do have public Wi-Fi here on campus that you can get on the academic building and the Carlisle House and the library. But for your Xbox, and we have some guys that will actually play their Xbox over in the Carlisle House so that they can utilize the Wi-Fi. But guys, how would you say that's monitored? Well, actually, let's just go to the whole electronics, the Xbox, the cell phones, all of that. Kind of talk about, Dustin, what it means if you abuse it, what happens to it if you use it the wrong way?
So the only time we can actually use our Xboxes, our phones, is during free time, that 3:15 to 5:45 period, about a little bit over 2 hours. And if we abuse that privilege, such as playing in the morning or during study hall, or if we're not succeeding enough or making the expectations from our TAC officers about our grades, they will take our phones, our Xboxes and stuff for whatever amount of time they can do that. And I know Mr. Casey said this earlier in the year, that a lot of parents, when they take away their electronics, like to give them back immediately, and that doesn't enforce a structure or a standard. So the cadets, so their kids back home will abuse that privilege and just be on it and constantly disobey their parents. Here, if you tell the TAC officer or the TAC officer decides, I'm going to take it for 2 weeks, that means he's going to take it for 2 weeks. That doesn't mean he's going to give it back in a week and a half. That means 2 full weeks of having no electronics. So I believe that enforces a structure, and that enforces a way that where people actually will obey the orders given to us by our TAC officers.
All right, good job. All right, guys, I want to talk to you, especially Luke. I want you to kind of describe the uniform that you have on and when did you wear it?
Well, this right here is the class uniform. This is the uniform that we wear most of the time. We wear it for class and dinner and breakfast and stuff. But as of right now, our uniform is PTs. So yeah, we don't wear this uniform because of the whole coronavirus outbreak.
Yeah. Guys kind of are enjoying, well, I don't want to say they're enjoying the coronavirus outbreak, but we have made things for the guys that chose to stay back a little, relaxed, so they are not having to wear the uniform to class every day. And Dustin, how about explain your uniform?
So this is the dress uniform. We wear this usually only once a week unless there's a parade going on. We call this the parade uniform. We wear it during chapel services and during parades. Officers and enlisted guys have different types of uniforms, such as, I'll go ahead and stand up. This is called our red sash. Officers like me and Lieutenant Lubkin wear these types of uniforms, and enlisted guys wear white webbing, different stuff on the uniform, such as this and this. And this is my cord for being on battalion staff. So our uniforms are different, but it's the same jacket. It's the same kind of standard of making uniform look nice. We wear this uniform. It looks uncomfortable because there's a few layers to it, but it's one of my favorite uniforms to wear.
You just like to show off all the ribbons and stuff. That's why you like to wear it.
Of course, I have to.
All right, and Jose, I think you have a travel uniform on?
Yeah, I do have the travel tracksuit. This is what we wear to our games. This is what I wore to every home game as well as away games. Yeah, I think you could wear this also to go home on furlough. So I've done that before a couple times. And this is our travel uniform basically.
All right. Yeah, so whenever they travel off campus, leave for the weekend or whatever, they have to be in one of the CMA uniforms or the travel uniform. And when they come back, to be in uniform as well. All right. I had a question come in about college acceptance rates and things like that. About 95% of our guys go on to college. We have a small percentage that will join the service directly after high school. We are Army ROTC Honor Unit with Distinction. So if you choose to go into the service, you're going with a little bit more cloud, start at about an E3 versus starting at the very bottom. But I think neither of the guys, we have two guys interested in the military today, one in the Navy and one in the Air Force. So Lucan's hoping to go to the Air Force Academy with Cadet George enlisting in the Navy for next year. So, all right, guys, I want to remind everyone we're getting close to the end here, but if you have any questions, hashtag CMA Open House. It'll be hashtag CMA Open House for any final questions. And guys, I'm going to ask you all the same question to kind of close things out. So think about this. What would you say to your parents? If you could give your parents a short message about sending you to Camden, and, you know, would you thank them? Would you say they lost their mind? You know, what would you say to your parents? We'll start with Lucan, and we'll end it up with George since you're the senior. So Lucan, what do you think?
Well, like I said earlier, I'd call CMA my second home. I honestly want to thank my parents a lot for coming up with the idea of sending me to a military school, and it's changed me a lot for the better, of course.
All right, and same question, Jose.
To me, I honestly want to thank them for making that big change in my life, because I thought that honestly, if I didn't go to Camden, I wouldn't have gone through the right road. And I honestly don't know and don't want to know where I would have been if I hadn't gone to Camden. So I really do want to thank them.
All right, and lastly, our senior.
I just want to say thank you, Mom. Like, I can't thank you enough. I remember the first week I was here, my mom came to visit because of how much she missed me after our very first football game, and we were sitting in the car getting ready to go out to eat. And I told her, I want to come home. This is not my home. This will never be my home. And, you know, I'm sitting here with 2 weeks left to go in my senior year at Camden Military, and I'm sitting here saying, this is my home. This is my true home. I love it here. I wake up here and I'm just counting my days down, and I'm really upset. It hit me really the other day when I was sitting in the dining hall, and our academic dean just started looking over me, and we were just having a conversation, and it was something funny he said, and then we just started laughing. It really hit me. Wow, these are my last few days here at Camden Military before I leave. Not for good, but, you know, I leave as a cadet. So keep it short and sweet. I love you, Mom, and thank you.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up for today, and I want to thank everybody who took the time to join us. You know, again, if you have any follow-up questions that didn't get asked today on air, please send me an email. My email address is admissions@camdenmilitary.com, and it'll actually come up on a screen here as we sign off, so you can copy it down. Also, follow us on social media. We're kind of posting what guys are doing both on campus and off campus. The off-campus guys have been sending us in some vlogs to keep us updated, and then we've been doing some, like I said, some fun stuff here on campus that we've been posting. So anyway, we hope to see you on campus soon, but if not, we are holding multiple Zoom meetings per week. We will be having other YouTube lives, so just, again, check out camdenmilitary.com and social media for all those details. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye from Camden.